The scent of dormant earth and expensive minimalist cleaning products vied for dominance in Ava's meticulously ordered home office. At 39, she was a landscape architect of considerable acclaim, her designs for sleek corporate plazas and serene, predictable suburban parks gracing the covers of glossy magazines. Her life with Michael, her husband of 15 years and a successful financial director, was similarly polished, a testament to shared goals and quiet, well-managed affection. Yet, beneath the surface of her professional success and domestic tranquility, a wild, untamed garden of longing had begun to push through the cracks of her carefully constructed facade. It had started months ago when she'd unearthed a portfolio from her student days, ambitious, almost rebellious designs for sprawling, untamed ecological havens, bursting with native flora and a raw, untamed energy she barely recognized as her own. Those forgotten sketches, so full of a youthful, fierce passion, now lay hidden in her bottom drawer, a secret ache, a reminder of a self she had gradually, almost imperceptibly, paved over. One particular evening, after a meticulously planned dinner party where the conversation had revolved entirely around stock portfolios and kitchen renovations, Ava had found herself staring at her reflection, a stranger with polite smiles and a hollow ache in her chest. The life she was living felt like a beautifully crafted stage set, impressive to onlookers, but empty backstage where her true self yearned for a different script. Michael, bless his pragmatic heart, saw her success as the pinnacle. "Another award, Ava? Fantastic," he'd said at their last sterile industry dinner, his approval genuine but a little distant, as if her work was another well-performing asset in their shared portfolio. "We should celebrate." "Maybe that new Michelin star place?" He didn't see the flicker of weariness in her eyes, the growing hunger for something more than just another accolade for another sensible, client-pleasing design. Their conversations, once filled with shared dreams and late-night laughter, now revolved around mortgage rates, investment strategies, and the upcoming homeowners association meeting. Intimacy had become a comfortable, predictable routine, a soft landing at the end of long, demanding days. But the exhilarating freefall of true, soul-deep connection felt like a distant, almost imagined memory. There was nothing overtly wrong, and that Ava knew with a certainty that chilled her to the bone was the most insidious kind of wrong there was. The absence of sharp edges also meant the absence of exhilarating peaks, the absence of true, vibrant life. It's a strange paradox, isn't it? To have a life that looks perfect on the outside, yet feel a profound sense of emptiness or a longing for something more, something truer to your deepest self. Have you ever found yourself in a comfortably numb situation, yearning for a spark, a change, a reawakening? What was the first tiny sign, that little internal whisper that made you realize something needed to shift? Share your own experiences of these quiet internal revolutions in the comments below. Your stories of seeking authenticity are so incredibly powerful and often resonate with many others. And if you're intrigued by Ava's awakening and the wild garden within her, make sure you subscribe and hit that notification bell, because her path is about to take an unexpected, transformative turn. The catalyst arrived in the form of an email from her firm's managing partner. They had landed the city's most ambitious project in decades, the complete regeneration of the long derelict, heavily polluted Northwood industrial waterfront into a pioneering, sustainable ecological park. And, the email continued, they would be collaborating with Dr. Elias Vance, a renowned, somewhat controversial, but undeniably brilliant ecologist and advocate for radical rewilding projects. Ava had followed Elias's work for years. His passionate, often unyielding stance on prioritizing ecological integrity over purely aesthetic or commercial concerns, a secret source of inspiration for her own suppressed ideals, a quiet affirmation that her youthful dreams hadn't been entirely naive. The thought of working with him, of being in his intellectual orbit, sent a jolt of something akin to pure, unadulterated fear and an undeniable, deeply buried thrill through her. Their first meeting was in the firm's sterile, glass-walled conference room, a space that always made Ava feel slightly on display. Elias Vance was nothing like the stern, tweed-clad academic figure she had perhaps unconsciously imagined. He was younger, perhaps early 40s, with a lean, energetic build, unruly dark curls escaping a carelessly tied ponytail, and eyes that held a startling, intense clarity, like a forest after a cleansing rain, eyes that seemed to see everything. He spoke with a quiet, infectious passion that was utterly captivating, his vision for the Northwood Project both audacious in its scope and profoundly inspiring in its ecological depth. He didn't talk about manicured lawns or predictable flower beds. He spoke of creating complex, self-sustaining ecosystems, of reintroducing native species long vanished from the urban landscape, of designing a park that would be a living, breathing, evolving testament to nature's resilience and beauty. After the initial team briefing, as others were packing up, Elias sought Ava out. "Your portfolio, Ms. Hayes," he said, his voice a low, thoughtful cadence that commanded attention without demanding it, "is impressive, technically brilliant, of course. But there was one particular student project I found in the university archives, a design for a whispering fen. That one had a different kind of fire in it, a wilder heart. I'm hoping we can bring some of that untamed fire to Northwood." Ava was stunned into a rare silence. He had not only seen her published, award-winning, sensible work, but had delved into her student archives, into the very soul of what she once dreamed of creating, the work she now kept hidden. He saw the untamed garden she had so carefully concealed. "That was a very long time ago, Doctor." "Vance," she said, her voice a little shaky, betraying her composure. "Passion doesn't have an expiration date, Eleanor," he replied, using her full name with a surprising, yet not unwelcome, familiarity that didn't feel intrusive, only deeply respectful. "Sometimes it just needs to be rediscovered, unearthed, given the proper space and light to breathe again." And with a brief, enigmatic nod, he was gone, leaving Ava with a racing heart and a profound, unsettling sense of being truly, perhaps for the first time in years, seen. The Northwood Project consumed Ava, body and soul. She and Elias worked closely, their initial formal professional interactions quickly evolving into a dynamic, exhilarating, and intellectually charged creative synergy. They spent long, intense hours poring over topographical maps, complex ecological surveys, and her initial, somewhat conservative design concepts for the waterfront. Elias, with his profound ecological knowledge and his unyielding, almost spiritual vision for what the park could become, gently but persistently challenged her to push her own creative boundaries, to be bolder, to listen more intently to the subtle language of the land itself, rather than just the client's pragmatic brief or the city's often restrictive and unimaginative bylaws. "What does this specific neglected shoreline want to be, Ava?" he'd ask, his finger tracing a delicate contour line on a map, his voice a low hum of concentration. "Not what we or the city planners think it should be, but what is its natural inclination, its hidden potential. Let's design with it, in partnership, not against it, imposing our will." His approach was a complete revelation, a return to the core principles she had once so passionately believed in, before years of client compromises and budget constraints had inevitably blunted her creative edge. With Elias, she felt that old familiar fire rekindling in her belly, her ideas becoming more daring, more innovative, more deeply aligned with the wild, untamed beauty she had sketched with such freedom in her youth. Their design sessions were intense, often exhausting, yet exhilarating, frequently stretching late into the evening, fueled by lukewarm coffee, shared enthusiasm, and a palpable, almost obsessive passion for the project. There was an undeniable electricity between them, an intellectual and creative intimacy that was unlike anything Ava had ever experienced before. It wasn't overtly romantic, not in the conventional sense, but it was profoundly, deeply, and undeniably connecting on a level that transcended the professional. Michael, her husband, was genuinely pleased with her renewed enthusiasm for her work, though he perceived it through his own practical lens. "It's truly great to see you so engaged and passionate again, Ava," he said one evening, as she excitedly described a significant breakthrough they'd had with a complex wetland restoration plan for Northwood. "This project sounds like it's going to be a real feather in your cap, a major career boost. Maybe, once it's a definite success, we can finally start seriously looking at those larger properties in the suburbs, the ones with the good school districts." His words, so focused on the conventional markers of external achievement and their pre-planned, sensible future, felt jarringly disconnected from the profound internal, almost spiritual shift Ava was experiencing. The bigger suburban house, the abstract talk of starting a family that always felt more like a societal expectation than a shared, heartfelt desire. It all felt like a life designed for someone else, for the woman she had been, or perhaps the woman she had pretended to be, not the woman she was rapidly, exhilaratingly becoming. She tried, on several occasions, to explain the deeper significance of the Northwood project to him, the ecological vision, Elias's inspiring philosophy of co-creation with nature. But Michael's eyes would invariably glaze over with polite, slightly bewildered disinterest. He supported her career, yes, in his own way, but he didn't truly understand her soul's deepest yearning, her artist's heart. The affair, when it began, wasn't a conscious decision, not a sordid, clandestine meeting in a shadowy, anonymous hotel room. It was, at first, an affair of the mind, of the spirit, born from shared creative passion and a profound intellectual connection that slowly, almost imperceptibly, then with gathering unstoppable momentum, began to blur long-established professional lines. It happened one particularly late night during a critical phase of the project. They were alone in the vast, empty office, a fierce summer storm raging outside, mirroring the creative tempest they were navigating with a particularly challenging, pivotal section of the Northwood design. They'd had a major breakthrough, a moment of shared, exhilarating insight where their individual ideas had suddenly fused, almost alchemically, into something truly groundbreaking, something neither of them could have achieved alone. In the euphoric, adrenaline-fueled aftermath, their eyes met across the littered drafting table, and the air in the room crackled with an unspoken, undeniable, almost tangible energy. Elias reached out, his calloused fingers gently brushing a stray strand of hair from Ava's cheek, his touch lingering for a fraction of a second too long, a spark igniting a hidden flame. "You're truly brilliant, Ava," he whispered, his voice husky with an emotion she couldn't quite decipher, his gaze intense and unwavering. "Absolutely brilliant." And then, as if drawn by an irresistible force, he leaned in and kissed her. It was a soft, searching kiss at first, tentative, questioning, then deepening with a raw, surprising hunger that Ava found herself meeting with an equal, long-suppressed, and utterly overwhelming fervor. It was a kiss that tasted of shared dreams, of intellectual fire, of a dangerous, exhilarating, and undeniable recognition. When they finally, breathlessly, pulled apart, shaken to their core, the unsaid, the now undeniable, hung heavy and potent in the charged air between them. Neither of them spoke of it the next day or the day after, but the boundary had been irrevocably crossed, the unspoken powerfully acknowledged. Their collaboration, already intense and deeply stimulating, now carried a new, thrilling, and profoundly terrifying intimacy. Ava felt increasingly, painfully torn, her life effectively bifurcated into two distinct, almost irreconcilable worlds. There was her quiet, predictable, emotionally muted life with Michael, a life of shared history, comfortable routines, and a certain undeniable security, but a life where her deepest, most authentic self felt increasingly unseen, unheard, and slowly suffocating. And then there was the vibrant, challenging, intellectually and emotionally stimulating world of the Northwood Project, and Elias, who saw her, truly saw her, who challenged her to be her best, most authentic self, who made her feel more alive, more vibrant, more completely her than she had in countless barren years. The guilt, when she allowed herself to feel it, was a constant, gnawing companion, but so too was the exhilarating, undeniable sense of reawakening, of her own dormant passions stirring powerfully, demanding to be acknowledged, to be lived, to be set free. She spent many sleepless nights wrestling with her conscience, with the implications of her actions. But the pull towards this newfound authenticity, this thrilling sense of aliveness that Elias and their shared work had ignited, felt increasingly irresistible. Feeling truly seen and deeply understood by someone, especially when you've felt invisible or unfulfilled for a long time, can be an incredibly powerful, almost intoxicating, and undeniably life-altering experience. It can reawaken dormant parts of yourself you thought were lost forever. Have you ever had a profound connection with someone? A friend, a mentor, a creative collaborator, or a partner who helped you see yourself in a completely new, more authentic, and empowering light? What impact did that significant connection have on your personal or professional journey? Share your stories of these transformative seeing connections in the comments below. And if Ava's complex emotional and creative reawakening is drawing you in and making you think, please give this video a heartfelt thumbs up. The Northwood Project, under Ava and Elias's combined vision and tireless dedication, was shaping up to be something truly revolutionary, a benchmark for future urban ecological design. But, as is often the case with ambitious, boundary-pushing endeavors, it soon faced a major, potentially fatal challenge. A powerful, influential group of city investors, who had initially been supportive of the project's innovative cachet, began to balk at some of its more radical ecological elements and its projected higher long-term maintenance costs. They started pushing hard for a more conventional, cost-effective, commercially viable, and ultimately far less inspiring design, more manicured, easily maintained parkland, fewer complex rewilded wetlands, more revenue-generating concession stands, and fewer quiet, contemplative spaces. The pressure from Ava's firm to compromise, to water down their vision, to appease the nervous investors was immense and unrelenting. "We have to fight for this, Ava," Elias said, his jaw set in a determined line, his eyes blazing with a fierce, protective conviction during an emergency late-night meeting in their project office. "This isn't just another park we're designing. This is a statement, a legacy. It's a chance to show what's truly possible when human ingenuity works in harmony with nature, not against it." Ava felt a familiar cold wave of fear wash over her, the ingrained instinct to retreat, to compromise, to choose the sensible, less confrontational path that had defined so much of her career, so much of her life. But then she looked at Elias, at his unwavering conviction, his passionate refusal to back down, and she thought of her own long-lost alchemist's suite, her own rediscovered, now fiercely protected artistic voice. This was her chance, she realized, to not just design a beautiful, innovative space, but to stand for something that truly, deeply mattered, to fight for her own vision, their shared vision. The climax of this struggle came at a tense make-or-break presentation to the full City Council and the assembled investor consortium. The room was packed, the atmosphere thick with skepticism and financial anxieties. Ava, with Elias by her side providing quiet, steadfast support, presented their vision not just as a landscape design, but as a vital, ecological, social, and even economic imperative for the city's future. She spoke with a passion, a clarity, and an eloquence that surprised everyone in the room, including, most profoundly, herself. Her arguments were deeply rooted in her extensive botanical knowledge and ecological understanding, but delivered with the undeniable fire of her reawakened artistic soul. She didn't just present data and charts. She told a compelling story, the story of a neglected, polluted riverfront yearning to be reborn, to become a source of life, beauty, and community pride once more. The battle was hard-fought, involving many more meetings, revisions, and passionate debates. But in the end, their unwavering vision, their meticulously researched data, and their passionate, compelling commitment to true ecological integrity, combined with a thoroughly detailed community engagement plan, won the day. The Northwood Ecological Park, in its bold, authentic, and inspiring form, was approved. The victory was exhilarating, a shared, hard-won triumph that solidified their professional and personal bond in a way that transcended even their stolen, transformative kiss. They had fought for something beautiful, something deeply meaningful, and they had won together against considerable odds. In the quiet, reflective aftermath of the intense public celebration that followed the council's decision, as they stood alone on a temporary platform overlooking the moonlit, still derelict waterfront that would soon be transformed under their guidance, Elias turned to Ava. "You were magnificent today, Eleanor," he said, his voice filled with a profound, almost reverent admiration. "Absolutely magnificent. You found your roar, and it was glorious to witness." "We found it together, Elias," she replied, her heart full, her own voice steady with a newfound confidence. "This park, it's ours in a way." The conversation with Michael, which Ava had been dreading for months, was inevitable and more painful, more rending than she could have ever imagined. She told him everything, not just about the single electrifying kiss with Elias, which in the grand scheme of her internal transformation felt almost secondary, but about the profound, suffocating emptiness she had felt for years within their comfortable life, about her reawakened passion for her true artistic calling, about the undeniable, irreversible truth that she could no longer live the carefully curated, emotionally muted, and ultimately unfulfilling life they had so meticulously built together. He was, understandably, devastated, his initial bewilderment giving way to a raw, agonizing anger, then a deep, wounded confusion. "But why, Ava? Why didn't you tell me you were unhappy? Wasn't our life enough?" "Wasn't I enough for you?" "It was never about you not being enough, Michael," she tried to explain, tears streaming down her face, her voice choked with a genuine sorrow for the pain she was inflicting. "It was about me not being enough for myself, for the person I was meant to be. I was disappearing, Michael." Fading away, and I need to find out who I am when I'm fully, authentically, vibrantly alive. Their separation was a slow, agonizing, and incredibly civilized process, filled with a quiet sorrow and the heavy, unyielding weight of 15 years of shared history. But there was also, for Ava, beneath the undeniable grief, a growing, powerful sense of clarity, of a painful but absolutely necessary liberation. She was finally choosing herself. She didn't immediately rush into a new, defined relationship with Elias. Her journey, she understood with a newfound wisdom, was first and foremost about rediscovering and reclaiming herself, about learning to stand firmly on her own 2 feet as an independent woman and a dedicated artist. She poured all her energy, all her reawakened passion, into the Northwood project, ensuring its successful implementation, and into her own art, her small studio becoming her sanctuary, her truest, most authentic home. Elias remained a vital, supportive presence in her life, a deeply respected colleague, a cherished, understanding friend, and yes, an undeniable magnetic pull her heart couldn't, and no longer wanted to, deny. Their connection was evolving, deepening organically, its future still unwritten, but filled with an undeniable, exciting, and hopeful potential. He gave her space, but also unwavering support. One crisp autumn evening, months later, at the grand opening of the Northwood Ecological Park, a triumphant event filled with joyful community members, city officials, and the vibrant sounds of nature already reclaiming its space, Ava stood on a newly constructed boardwalk, overlooking a thriving wetland section she had designed, the air filled with the chirping of crickets and the scent of damp earth and native wildflowers. The park was a resounding success, a testament to their shared vision. As the official speeches concluded and the celebratory music began, Elias found her there, away from the main crowd. He didn't speak for a moment, just stood beside her, sharing the quiet beauty of the scene. "You built this, Ava," he said finally, his voice soft with awe and admiration. "Against all odds, you brought this incredible vision to life." "We did, Elias," she corrected, her fingers instinctively lacing with his as he reached for her hand. "And it feels like it's just the beginning, doesn't it?" He smiled then, his eyes reflecting the hopeful glow of the festival lights strung through the trees. "For the park." "Or for us, Eleanor?" Ava looked out at the transformed landscape, a vibrant, breathing testament to resilience, ecological wisdom, and authentic, courageous vision. Then she looked back at the man who had helped her rediscover her own. "Both," she whispered, her heart full of a quiet, certain joy. "Definitely both." Her own alchemist's suite, she realized with a profound sense of peace, was still being composed, each day a new, resonant note. But now, it was filled with themes of courage, authentic passion, and the promise of a future where she would never again allow her true, vibrant self to be silenced or compromised. Ava's powerful journey from a life of quiet, simmering dissatisfaction to one of vibrant, authentic self-expression and professional fulfillment is a profound testament to the incredible courage it takes to listen to our deepest inner voice and proactively reshape our lives, even when it means dismantling the familiar, the comfortable, and the secure. Her story beautifully highlights how a deep, meaningful connection with another, particularly one who truly sees, understands, and champions our truest potential, can act as the essential catalyst for reawakening long-dormant passions and finding the unwavering strength to pursue a life filled with genuine purpose and profound meaning. True fulfillment, her transformative story suggests, isn't found in conforming to external expectations or rigidly maintaining a comfortable, predictable status quo, but in bravely, unapologetically embracing our own unique path and diligently cultivating the often wild, untamed, but ultimately beautiful gardens within our own souls. What does living an authentically alive life truly mean to you? In your own unique experience and understanding, have you ever felt the profound need to make a significant, perhaps even daunting, change in your life to honor your true self, even if it involved making difficult, heart-wrenching choices and facing an uncertain, unmapped future? Your personal stories of courage, resilience, and profound self-discovery are incredibly valuable and deeply inspiring. Please share your reflections and experiences in the comments below. Let's create a supportive space to inspire each other to live more fully and authentically. Thank you so much for joining Ava on her inspiring and transformative journey of rediscovery and unwavering self-actualization today. If her story of reclaiming her deeply held passion and finding the courage to embrace her authentic voice resonated deeply with you, please show your support and appreciation with a heartfelt thumbs up. It truly means so much to us and helps these vital narratives of courage and hope reach others who might be seeking their own path to awakening. And of course, if you haven't already, please make sure to subscribe to the channel and click that all-important notification bell so you won't miss out on more stories that celebrate the incredible resilience of the human spirit, the transformative power of authentic human connection, and the profound, enduring joy of living a life that is true to oneself. Until next time, may you always find the unwavering courage to listen to the deepest, most insistent yearnings of your own heart, and may you always find the strength and support to cultivate the unique, beautiful, and ever-evolving landscape of your own precious soul.